hot today. Alex Strofe, 844-770-3776. I don't know. You didn't tell me who this text was from, but I have a good guess. Chris from Manitowoc Waters chimes in right away before the show starts.
You are spot on, my friend. Chris from MW says, have a great, this is at 1:58 p.m. Have a great show, fellas. Rogers royally sucks, Strofe. It's time to accept that. He is the worst. Just admit it, buddy. What the hell are we doing here, Chris?
Coming in hot. I like it.
That's funny. It's funny.
But Aaron Rodgers is the topic today. We'll talk a little Jordan Love as well. And, Ben Brust on Scales on Brust kind of took our take that this is not a ringing endorsement of Jordan Love, the rework deal. Because if they thought, and I'm not saying they should, but if they thought Jordan Love was the next big thing, they would have signed him up something real going forward.
For sure.
That's where I disagree with Ben. They wouldn't have picked up fifth-year option. If they thought he was real, they're signing him to something that's even like a 4-year deal.
Right. 4 was the number.
50 guaranteed. If they saw anything from Jordan Love that made them feel confident that he's the real deal going forward, then they would have signed him to that deal. But I think this deal says to Jordan Love, which is basically $13 million guaranteed over 2 years instead of $20 million guaranteed in 1 year. This is Jordan. We've seen enough to give you a chance. Meanwhile, Alex Strofe, I'm Jim Rutledge. This is Rutledge and Hamilton presented by Coors Light. We're live from the Spark Building. Meanwhile, in New York, it's like Aaron Rodgers living his best life. And yesterday he talked a little bit about, and I want to hear some of his quotes, and then I want to kind of jump into Aaron Rodgers and forget your feelings. I want to know your opinion on something about Aaron Rodgers. But I want to hear Aaron Rodgers talk about, on the Pat McAfee show, about maybe being able to play football for more than one season.
Listen, I think I'll be able to throw pretty good to him about 60 or 70. I think that's just
what? Hell yeah! See those mountains over there, pal? Hell yeah!
I mean, I bet you Dan Marino could pick up a ball right now and sling that thing around a little bit. So I think I'll still be able to throw for a long time.
So talking about he could sling it till he's 60, and he's not making a commitment there, but
he's probably right.
Right. Oh yeah, Brett Favre can still sling it. I saw him do the thing. It's the flag football game.
Yeah, and he was throwing the rock to people last year at the AmFam Championship before he got canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he canceled himself.
Yeah.
Then, you know what? I'm going to pause on it. He didn't get canceled. He's a dirtbag criminal, allegedly. And that's why but we also not
Don't
allegedly.
Get sued, Jim.
Also not
He's
allegedly.
People.
I said allegedly, but also not allegedly. What he did in New York is also dirtbaggish. That he probably should have been done with that. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers doesn't repeat any of that stuff. That's not alleged.
That's a fair point.
So in general, bye, Brett. And that's what we can definitely say for Aaron. Aaron is a lot of things, but he's not Brett Favre.
But in all honesty, Jim, I think I'll be able to sling the pill until I'm 60 years old. You ever seen you see those mountains over there, pal? I could throw them right over them, Uncle Rico style, as Pat McAfee drops in a Napoleon Dynamite reference. Great movie, by the way.
Who do you think on this show thinks they're the best at throwing football?
Me.
You think
on this show?
Yeah,
it's me.
No, Matt thinks he's the best. You're not the best.
I am the best.
You're absolutely the worst. I guarantee.
I can sling a rock.
No,
let's. Bree Stevens is right across the street.
Yeah, that's fine.
After work today, let's go over there. I'll show you. I could toss this thing 50 yards.
All right, Rico. But let's wait for Matt because Matt's the marquee. Even though he's not here often, let's wait for Matt so we can get us all in there.
How's he doing? Do we know? He's curling, and I looked it up. Saskatchewan.
I saw they lost the last match they had. Jeez, that was last night.
What's going on with them?
I don't know. You have to ask Matt Hamilton. But Aaron Rodgers is at OTAs here, whatever this is right now, voluntary workouts.
And another Knicks game.
He talked about we're going to leave the Knicks and the throwing out the first pitch and all that aside because I don't want that to color my question about Aaron Rodgers. But he did talk about the importance, if you will, of being in the building with his new teammates.
I want to make sure I was ready to go once this started. Obviously, I've spent a lot of time out west over the last few years in the off season, which has honestly been incredible for me because those workouts there, my bodywork guy Tommy out there, the structure is so incredible. I feel like that's what puts me in my best shape to be successful once the season starts. But I knew with a new team that I'm going to have to be here a little bit more just to get to know the guys, let them feel the cadence, and start to, step into the leadership role that is going to be open for my, seamless transition there as a quarterback. So definitely wanted to be here.
Leadership role. Love it. Aggressive leader, Aaron Rodgers, no longer passively leading. So you pair that with Mr. Aaron Rodgers hanging out with who I love, Sauce Gardner, for a lot of reasons. One, wearing the cheese head here, but there's a photo of Aaron Rodgers hanging out with Sauce Gardner a couple times, and Aaron Rodgers talked last year about he's too old to be bothered with the young guys. That, it's fine. They can do their thing. I'm going to do my thing. He wasn't saying anything bad about them. You know what he did? He sounded a lot like Brett Favre. So that's just the most recent thing, whether it's Aaron Rodgers keeping it on the field, showing up for voluntary workouts, Aaron Rodgers hanging out socially with some of the younger players on the team, Aaron Rodgers shooting a video, and this isn't about the football side of it, but it's still with the Jets, like going all in and like letting the Jets get some behind the scenes footage and talking about Robert Saleh and how he's an alpha, and talking about how Douglas is, getting the players that he wants. So I want to ask this question. Oh boy. Was Aaron Rodgers all in last year with the Packers? 844-770-3776. That's our first Iron Jock poll question. And I mean all in of, he was clearly, and I've covered, and I've been in NFL locker rooms, and what I mean by in college rooms and college locker rooms, and I'm only saying it for this part of it, everyone is all in on game day. And everyone is even all in when they're practicing. But there's another part of being all in. And I covered a team in Miami that won one game. And you could just see the guys weren't as engaged as when I covered some of the Packer teams that were 11, 12, NFC championship caliber teams, of just when the media has an opportunity to be around and see practices and see the players, there was a level of engagement. Everyone is trying hard. Everyone is showing up to do their best that day. But to win in the NFL and to be a leader in the NFL, it's the in-between. It's not game day. It's not even the practice days. It's everything else. And it goes back to what Jason Wilde said yesterday with us. And if you missed that, you can listen back. Wisconsin on the Man, Apple, Spotify, any of those great places. That's brought to you by Revive Restoration. Whether you need mold remediation, you have smoke damage, you have water damage. If you have damage to your house or your business, go to revivepros.com. Josh and his team at Revive Restoration will help you. That's the sponsor of our show on Wisconsin on the Man. But with what Aaron has been saying and what Jason said was that Aaron last year not showing up to training camp or voluntary stuff, that gave a window to Sammy Watkins to not show up, and any other player that didn't have a massive financial benefit to not show up. And I know Randall Cobb showed up, but Randall Cobb is a special type of leader.
New York Jets type of leader.
Aaron Rodgers, whether he liked it or not, was going to be the tone setter for the office. I mean, for the building. And look, every office has people that, even if they're not the manager or the coach, is a tone setter. And coaches will go to that player and say, I need you to do this to set the tone. We can all go back to Tom Brady and Belichick calling him out, but Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich, telling him, I'm going to get on you in front of everyone, because if they see me do that to you, you're going to do this here. Michael Jordan was not your traditional leader, but he was a leader in the fact that he was relentless as a competitor that everyone else felt they had to fall in line. Different types of leaders. But last year, I think Aaron was trying to be that Jordan type of leader, and I think that's more his style. But when you're not at voluntary things, that sets a lower bar. When you are not going out of your way to hang with the younger folks. Again, Alex, I'll use us as an example, this office as an example. We don't hang out all the time, but we still, whether it's you or some of the younger folks here that work at the office, we still go get a beer, or we have, we're not hanging out all the time, but I'm still around you guys from time to time. It's not some disconnect of me.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying you're Aaron Rodgers?
I'm 43 years old. I'm the old guy in the office.
You are.
Outside of one other person, but I do. And even the other old guy in the office, he still is hanging out with, at times, not all the time. We have different lives. There are different things. I have kids, and Aaron doesn't have any of that, and I'm married, family, and all that stuff, but we still make time because there's not this massive
humble brag. Jim had sex.
But twice.
Yeah.
But
a boy.
When you get into it, it was never a valid excuse from Aaron Rodgers that he was older and had different life than those guys, because there's not some massive gap. Like, there's people in this office who are 21, 22 years old. I still can get a cup of coffee with them or go get a beer with him downstairs. Aaron Rodgers could have gone and played video games with. He didn't have to invite him over for cigars and whiskey, but he could have made his way over to many of the bars or just hung out at Lambeau Field a little bit longer with them. He didn't do any of those things, and he used to. So when I say he wasn't all in, it's in the margins of this football player all in. But as a leader, I don't think he was as all in as he could have been. And he has a high standard. So even Aaron Rodgers not all in is better than most. But if you wanted to ask me what made everything a little bit less, maybe it was Aaron Rodgers not being all in last year.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a point to be made there, and I still tend to disagree with both you and Wildy when it comes to if he attends the voluntary OTAs last year, does it change the trajectory of the season?
Oh, well, but forget that. It does change who's showing up to this.
I agree with that, but again, I don't think it changes even if he's there, the trajectory of the season, right? I don't think Christian Watson is catching that ball week one, that Hail Mary that really set the tone for what the Packers
That's
season
not the
was
best example, because that one you could almost sell. Now, maybe they don't win that game, but that play you could sell that if he's there and Watson catch a few more passes.
You think something that happens 5 months before that change? Like they had weeks and weeks of reps together in training.
Yeah, but every bit counts. Every bit counts.
Every bit counts, but I don't think it changes the outcome of that throw. If he's there in April, the throw that happened in September, I don't think it might change the outcome of that game against Detroit in Detroit because that was an awful ending. But other than that, I don't really buy into the fact that if he shows up for voluntary OTAs, it changes his play. To your point, though, is Sammy Watkins at OTA or the voluntary OTAs last year if Aaron Rodgers is there? Vehement, yes, absolutely he is there. He's showing up. And I understand that point. But Sammy Watkins didn't even make it the full season with Green Bay.
Is everyone 3% better, 2%, 1% better if Aaron Rodgers showed up to voluntary?
Again, hindsight's 2020. I don't think it changes a ton.
But you're saying that leadership doesn't have an effect.
Look, let's use our buddy Matt Hamilton as the example, right? He's not here every day. Does it change the mentions and the aspects of our show when he is here? Absolutely, right? Because he's sitting in the chair I'm currently sitting in. But when he's not here, does it mean we don't have a good radio show? No, I think you and I do a pretty darn good show, Jimmy. So yeah, I understand your point, but I don't think it changes the outcome of the season. I think Aaron Rodgers, to a point, probably had one foot out the door, especially early on in the year, even after he signs that contract extension. But I don't think he was not all bought in. And to your point, during the season, during the game days, during the practices, during training camp, I think he was 100% bought in because he understands. Aaron Rodgers is a petty dude. He's a chip on his shoulder always. He understands the window for him to win a championship, especially in Green Bay, was closing very quickly. And now he's rejuvenated because that window, here we are in May, it's nice outside. That window's been cracked open just a little bit more in New York because he's got the offensive rookie of the year on his side, number 17, in Garrett Wilson, and he's got the defensive rookie of the year on his team on the defensive side of the ball, and he's hanging out with him at Knicks games. That's Sauce Gardner. Romeo Doubs made a ton of headlines last year and back in January. It was this year, I guess, when he said he had never hung out with Aaron Rodgers outside of the facility. That's what you're referring to. If Romeo Doubs would have won the Offensive Rookie of the Year, I bet he's going to Bucs games with Romeo Doubs. But Romeo Doubs is a fourth-round pick who didn't really have that good of a season. So I understand why the relationship didn't develop the way his relationship developed with a guy like David Bakhtiari. Aaron Rodgers was still bought in.
You're an excuse maker because, again, you're going back to the actions of the Packers, but that doesn't excuse Aaron Rodgers' actions. He can still control how he wants to be. Brett and Davis chimes in. Rodgers was all in until the team traded Adams a few days after Rodgers signed that contract. The second Adams was out, Rodgers was out.
I disagree with that.
House D chimes in. Frick, no, he wasn't in it at all. Not at all. He's a me guy, not a we guy. And Christian Manitowash Waters chimes back in, piping in again, fellas. It changes the outcome of the season if he was at OTAs last year. He had two rookies needed chemistry with. If anything, he should have invited them out to California last year like Love did and practice with them. He's doing this to upset Wisconsin. That last part I don't agree with, but I still want to go back to Rodgers and the leadership side of things. And if you are saying that how do you apply it tangibly? I don't know. But if you were saying that him not being at voluntary workouts and him not going out of his way or judging how much he's going to spend time with someone based on how good they are, you are wiping off, and you're saying it doesn't have an effect. You're wiping off any residue you believe leadership has.
No,
because
if
you're wiping off that poor leadership or passive leadership is not a negative effect, then you're writing off the positive effects that, in theory, live with leadership. So What you're saying is that everything Aaron Rodgers is doing in New York right now with those players and is all pointless.
Yeah, well, I want to go back to what Chris said, and that was he had 2 rookies he needed chemistry with. Like, why are we acting like Aaron Rodgers wasn't a training camp? He had 6, 7, 8 weeks to build chemistry before the regular season. It's not like he didn't show up until the game 1 against the Minnesota Vikings.
But
he
here's
walked
the
in the
thing,
locker room and said, "Hey guys, nice to meet you." That's not what happened.
But
he
you
was
know
there
how
for
chemistry
6,
works.
7 weeks. Yes, and he had the opportunity to build chemistry. And I know he didn't play in the preseason. Maybe he should have.
But Alex,
But for him to show up for a week at voluntary OTAs where you're just throwing the ball, you're not even running the offense, you're just like running routes, that's not going to change the outcome of the season whatsoever.
Yes, it can. When the interns show up, what kind of chemistry do you have with them as opposed to when they leave? Every day counts.
Absolutely.
Every flipping day counts.
But the days in July and
They
August
do count.
matter a whole hell of a lot more than the days in April when guys that aren't even going to be on the team are there.
You don't have to feel out Aaron Rodgers. Like initially, you have that feeling out time with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they're able to text Aaron Rodgers throughout. They feel comfortable texting Aaron Rodgers throughout the rest of the offseason because they hung out with Aaron Rodgers at OTAs. Maybe they're not complaining, or voluntary workouts. Maybe they're not complaining about not getting that extra time with, or complaining about not hanging out with Aaron Rodgers when Aaron would be far more willing to hang when it's just voluntary workouts. They could have gone to a Brewers game or done whatever, had some team outing. That all can get done. Some of that cheesy team bonding thing that I don't even necessarily love can be done in voluntary workouts. None of that was done. It all had to be wedged into a tighter window. You cannot force chemistry. And chemistry is a intangible, but you can't force it. I'm not talking about on the field chemistry. I'm talking about being comfortable with people. And you brought up the idea of Matt and the show In and Out. What do we talk about, though? At times, when Matt is gone for a long time, we have to work on re-engaging him because Matt here, not fully engaged, he's not choosing not to be engaged, is a harder show if we pull back curtain completely. Well, if Aaron Rodgers is not fully engaged, now the Packers have to spend time. They could have done it in voluntary workouts. Now they have to do it and get that footing back together in training camp instead of voluntary workouts. That reconnection, the further you are away from each other as a football team, whether it's on the field or off the field, just like in work or in life, the more touch points you have in person, the less reconnection, the less time it takes when you see each other again. This is Rutledge and Hamilton. We're presented by Coors Light. If the mountains are blue, you know what to do.
And that's crush a Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. Miss any of the show? Find full show podcasts free on Wisconsin On Demand and wherever you get your podcasts.
Jim Rutledge here to tell you about X Golf Madison, and the most important thing that you need to know is that X Golf Madison is for everyone. I golf there. Whether you're a seasoned pro, a new golfer, or in between like me, X Golf Madison is going to be fun for you. They have a full bar, excellent service, great food, and the most advanced and accurate golf simulators in the world. You can play one of their 50 courses available, take lessons from a PGA pro, hit the driving range, or even join a league. Stop by their East Madison or Middleton location today, or visit them online at xgolfwisconsin.com.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Gold medalist Matt Hamilton here to tell you about Wisconsin's best choice for roofing, siding, windows, and doors, Ridgetop Exteriors. I know they're the trusted local experts who consider customer service their number one goal, but don't just take my word for it. Jake and Dawn are both recent customers who left 5-star reviews for the outstanding service and quality of work on their projects. Get a free estimate for your home project today by logging on to ridgetopexteriors.com. Visit ridgetopexteriors.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Finally, baseball is back. Swing into the season with tickets to the action. Plus, with basketball and hockey heating up, now is a great time to experience a game. Vivid Seats is proud to be the official ticketing partner of ESPN. From on the glass to in the stands, Vivid Seats has great ticket prices to all the games. Every crack of the bat, every dribble down the court. Catch it all with Vivid Seats. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats. Experience it live.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. We're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
Don't miss your chance to see the legends of golf when they come to Central Wisconsin this summer. Watch your favorite players like Steve Stricker, Ernie Els, Jerry Kelly, Padraig Harrington, and more up close as they battle for the 43rd U.S. Senior Open Championship at Century World in Stevens Point. June 27th through July 2nd. Buy your daily, weekly, or premium tickets now at ussenioropen.com. That's ussenioropen.com.
Stoughton Health provides comprehensive and compassionate care to Stoughton community and the entire Madison area. From our sports rehab facilities in Oregon and Stoughton to our renowned ortho team with Dr. Ravel, Stoughton Health can help. Learn more at stoughtonhealth.com.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by X Golf in Madison and Middleton.
Alex Strofe almost knocked off the seat with some of the text coming in on the talking text line, 844-770-3776.
They're coming in hot today, Jimmy. Everybody's on your side. House of D, who's usually not on your side.
People like me.
Says, Jim is absolutely right. Alex, don't be so dense. I'm
like
being
me.
dense?
I like obtuse, but dense works.
I couldn't believe that. Pat from Madison must be watching us on the video stream. Hello, Pat. He says, take that Jets helmet off the table. Geez, so I placed that Jets helmet right there where it sits, and you can find it on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at ESPN Madison. I brought it in the day he was traded.
So this is your helmet. So
You have nothing to do with this.
I have nothing to do with this Jets helmet.
I have had that Jets helmet since 2008. It's been sitting in a bin in my apartment for the last, since college probably. I've never taken it out of the box, but I knew I had it. So when he got traded, I was like, yeah, I'll bring it in. So I've just had it sitting there since last Tuesday. So this is not me being a Jets fan. It's just I thought it was funny. So sorry to bother you, Pat.
Aaron, apologist Alex. Jim is 100% right. Evan and Madison chimes in. Is Alex really trying to say that Aaron's presence couldn't have helped in the slightest? Because that would be just insane.
It would help in the slightest, but it doesn't change the win total of the Packers. They were 8-9. He had a broken thumb.
82% of votes so far are Aaron Jock poll question. Do you think Aaron Rodgers was fully bought in during his final season with the Packers? 82% of you say no, he didn't care enough. And it's not a big leap that the Packers win one more game.
If he's at a practice in April? Like, why I hate this take, and I've hated it the whole time, but now it's become, again, it's been brought up, back up because he's with the Jets, obviously, is because you people, then you all must believe that the Jets are going to win 11 games this year, right? I imagine the Jets are going to win 14 games this year because he's at voluntary OTAs in April and May. Like, are we going to sit here and act like the Jets are going to be amazing now?
Well, there's two parts to this.
Randall Cobb's there. They better win 14 games.
So, wait, though. We don't know what their true potential is. The point is, we will find out through the year how many games this team has in them. Now, and you know I use this term and I like it, it's in the margins. Could they go from an 11-win team to a 12-win team because everyone is a little bit more bought in? And if you say no, and I'm not even sure I know the right answer on this, but if you say no, you are wiping away any residue you believe leadership actually applies to anything.
Yeah, okay. So here's let me dive deeper into this so we're all on the same page here, right? This is not me being like Aaron Rodgers is just better than everybody, but it is a little bit, right? What's a good example I could use here? So my mom and my girlfriend are both teachers. Teachers.
Who's a better teacher?
Well, my mom's been doing it. She's retiring after this year. Congratulations to my mom. She's been doing it 33
Shout
years.
out. That's fantastic.
So I would assume she's probably a little bit better than my girlfriend in year 2, but they're both phenomenal teachers. Yesterday was National Teacher Appreciation Day.
It was?
Shout out to all the teachers. Yeah.
Shout out to my
but
wife,
next week, it makes no sense to me. Next week is National Teacher Appreciation Week. but National Teacher Appreciation Day was yesterday.
Well, it's just weird because throughout this week, where my wife teaches, they're getting like little treats.
Same with
school.
my mom. So they're celebrating it this week, but at my girlfriend's school, they are doing it next week. So anyway, doesn't make any sense to me. But teachers have in-service sometimes, right? So like the kids will have a Friday off and the teachers will have to go in. In year 30, do you think the in-service is changing a lot for maybe like my mother? Do you think it's going to change her teaching style a whole lot? Probably not. She's been through this before, right? But for a young teacher like my girlfriend who's in year 2, that might actually teach her a lot, things she hasn't seen before, situations she hasn't been through before. So for guys like Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs and even Jordan Love, who are only in year 1, 2, 3 in the league, these voluntary OTAs are super important. You're still learning the offense. You're still learning some of the things that are implemented and expected of you. Whereas Aaron Rodgers, could he build some chemistry? Sure. I'm not going to sit here and say it wouldn't help in the slightest, like I think Evan texted in. It would help in the slightest for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how much he gains by walking through the simplest of things that he's been through year in and year out. Whereas for guys like Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, it's important. So yeah, would it build some chemistry? Maybe a little tiny bit, but that is what training camp is for. That's why a lot of teams excuse the veterans from the voluntary OTAs, right? And I don't know this off the top of my head. I'm just going to use Tom Brady as the example. I don't know if he went every year, but I would assume some years, and maybe some years not, Bill Belichick was like, yeah, some of you veterans like you and Darrelle Revis and Randy Moss or whoever's there at the time can take this one out because I just need to focus on the young guys, right? That's what happens in the voluntary OTAs. It's about these young guys getting their feet wet and understanding the expectations that are set forth for them. It's not necessarily we're doing live 11 on 11 so Aaron Rodgers can build a really strong rapport with Romeo Doubs against the live defense. That's not what happens in these voluntary OTAs.
So one question I have, and I don't know the answer to it, who's teaching these? Who's running these in-services? Who's giving the advice?
For teachers?
Yeah.
Usually like a principal. I believe.
So someone like a leader.
Nicely done. Yeah, you're right.
So you kind of proved my point because someone who is younger is more benefited from the leadership of the principal who could give you some extra tips. And I'm sure your mom, whether it's casually or just through osmosis, can give some tips, or your significant other has picked up some tips from your mom, just from just chatting, because that's it. It's generational. You pass things down through osmosis. I'm not saying you're focusing again on the field. I am not saying that Aaron Rodgers had to be out there slinging the Peloton. I mean, Aaron Rodgers just hanging out and playing or going on Twitch with the guys or playing some video games, or because this is when it doesn't. This is when team building matters. This is when the field part. I'm not saying the on the field.
You're saying it translates. Then,
yes,
right?
I'm not saying that the physical throwing the ball to Christian Watson makes a big difference. I'm saying that Christian Watson, because no matter what, it's Aaron flipping Rodgers. He is a Hall of Famer. He walks in that room. And I'm not great at this too, but you've told me this before, that at times I can come across as intimidating just from the physical time I've been here. So now I know I need to go out of my way to make sure that everyone knows that I'm fully approachable. But it takes some time for that to happen. You mentioned initially when we started doing a show together, it took time. The show could have gotten better faster if I knew that. And now I try to get in front of it and talk to people faster to let them know, I want to know what you have to say.
Hold on. Time out right there. Ryan Wollerstein producing the show today. Is Jim Rutledge approachable? Yes or no?
Jim Rutledge on first meeting can be a bit intimidating, like you said, similar to Aaron. First time, like the rookie said, the first time they met him during training camp, it was a little hard to get to know him. It's he's not the most open guy, but once you get through that wall, once you get to break it down a little bit, you really find it's a soft sweetheart there underneath.
See, there you go. People like me. So my point being is that once we get more out of you, more out of Ryan, and I'm sure in your regular life, you get more out of people when they are already through the get to know you phase.
Sure,
and
I don't disagree with that at all.
So it's more of, it's not tangible. I'm not saying extra throws made a big difference. It's more of if Dobbs and Watson felt more comfortable and Watkins or anyone else around there felt more comfortable, if Allen Lazard felt more comfortable as he moved from an auxiliary, your third wide receiver to your number one guy, and he had some more FaceTime, not phone FaceTime, but real life FaceTime with Aaron. Aaron can't say, I like to talk on FaceTime, and then also not actually give physical FaceTime. So he knew there was a value to it because he showed up forever, and he showed up now. And it's not the on the field value. It is the off the field value. And that's why I don't think Aaron Rodgers was completely bought in last season with the Green Bay Packers. And right now, 82% of you with our Iron Jack poll question say that Aaron Rodgers was not fully bought in last year during the Packers.
Yeah, you could make a strong case for it, and you have done just that. So well done on your part, and everybody that's been texting in. Everything you're saying, there's partial truth to this, right? Like, could he have been a better leader? Yes. Michael in Spring Green, I just want to read this because it is true, and I think it is a good point. He chimes in with Rodgers wasn't with all of his teammates in the spring because he's out in California getting specialized workouts every spring and summer. Veterans have more physical concerns than rookies. Sometimes that takes priority over chemistry building. I don't know if that was the exact case last year, but we do know that to be true about Aaron Rodgers. So I just figured that's worth throwing out there.
And again, I'm not saying he had, and I appreciate that. I'm not saying he physically had to like be out there swinging. He even joked when they asked,
he should FaceTime Romeo jokingly, but
yes.
You are serious, and I don't think that's unfair.
And there is, what does it apply to wins? I don't know, but there is a tangible effect. It's just human nature. We all have human interactions with people at our workplace or in your life, and you know that the more you interact with them, the more you get to who they are, and you understand who they are and where they're coming from, the better everything is.
Right, and I'm not denying that translates.
And that's what I'm focusing on, not the field. I'm talking about Aaron, the person,
right?
Feeling the players feel more comfortable with them.
But to the on the field point, like I'm not denying that translates. You're absolutely correct about that. But my point ultimately is Aaron Rodgers showing up to voluntary OTAs in April and May last year does not change the win total of the Green Bay Packers in 2020.
I think we got to ask that as our next question here.
Yeah, I think we have to. We should pull that.
If Aaron Rodgers showed up to voluntary workouts last year, do the Packers win one more game?
Oh, that's a resounding
at least
100%.
one more game. At least.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be an easy one.
Which then puts him in the playoffs, which then also puts him
right.
with the Green Bay Packers this year.
I think I'm.
If Aaron Rodgers showed up to voluntary workouts last year, he's probably a Packer this year.
I don't think so.
They make the playoffs. How are you moving off of him?
I think he still wants to move on.
Remember,
I think this is more of an Aaron thing
Aaron said that he was moved on from.
Yeah. Do you buy that?
No,
I don't either.
You kind of forced the hand. What I do buy,
I think they both wanted to move on. Sorry.
What I do buy is my good friends at Canopy Wealth Management. They take the time to truly get to know and understand the dynamics of your values, goals, and plans for your family. No family fits a generic mold, and neither should your financial plan. At Canopy, their clients' financial goals are something they're constantly striving to help reach maximum potential, which is why they work solely in your best interest. You define your goals, and they work hard towards making them happen with their comprehensive financial planning. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started with them today. That's canopy-wealth.com. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. The mountains are blue, and we can prove it. Follow the show on Twitter at Jim and Matt.
Hey, Matt Hamilton here of Rutledge and Hamilton, and I wanted to tell you a bit about my friends at Revive Restoration. Accidents happen, but Revive can make things right again. From things like water damage, fire or smoke, mold, storm damage, and a whole lot more. Revive Restoration has you covered 24/7, 365 days a year. There's no project too big or too small, so the next time you need help restoring your home or business, Revive Restoration has your back. Revive Restoration.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Are you dreaming of a new look? Let the pros at 5 Star Painting bring color to your world, to your interior, exterior, cabinets, and more. We make it easy with online scheduling, free on-site estimates, and a dedicated project manager on every job. Uneasy about hiring a contractor? We know, we've been there. 5 Star Painting is customer-focused and quality-driven, exceeding expectations every time. Call or visit 5starpainting.com today. 5 Star Painting, a neighborly company.
Legacy Exteriors. Just pick up the phone and let us leave a legacy on your home. Roofing, windows, gutters, siding, and decks. Can Legacy do it? You bet. Better prices, better warranties. Legacy always makes it easy. Go to legacy-exteriors.com. Legacy Exteriors. Just pick up the phone. Let us leave a legacy on your home.
Is shoulder pain keeping you from doing the activities you enjoy most? Join Stoughton Health and Ortho Team Clinic's Dr. Ashish Raval, board certified in both orthopedic surgery and sports medicine, for an informative, free online event, Thursday, May 4th at 5:30 p.m. He'll discuss the causes of shoulder pain and both surgical and non-surgical pain relief options. To register for this free virtual event, visit stoughtonhealth.com, then click on Classes and Events. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
Hey Madison, it's Dan Andrews from Simon Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. By now, you know that you're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simon Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. But what is a better buying experience? It's a car buying experience that is custom to what you want and need. We can be your trusted expert, or we can be hands-off until you're ready to purchase. If you're in the market for a new or new-to-you Chevy truck or SUV, make the short drive to Simon Chevrolet in Mount Horeb and see the difference a better buying experience can make.
North and South Seafood and Smokehouse is the official barbecue and seafood and smokehouse of Rutledge and Hamilton. Make sure to listen every Wednesday for your chance to win a $50 gift card to North and South Seafood and Smokehouse in Madison, Verona, and DeForest. North and South Seafood and Smokehouse.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealership.
Heads Carolina, tails California, somewhere greener, somewhere warmer, up in the mountains, down by the ocean.
If 12 was there, maybe Watkins learns hand signals and runs the correct route. I hate it when Jim's right. That's Skeeter, 844-770-3776. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. He's Strofe. I am Rutledge. Hamilton is curling. Wollersheim behind the glass. You can get the show 844-770-3776. Our first our first Iron Jock poll question was, do you think Aaron Rodgers was fully bought in during his final season with the Packers? 82% of you say no, he did not care enough.
That's interesting. Like, I expected it to be no, right?
Yes.
But I was thinking more like 60-40.
Then the follow-up one here, would the Packers have won one more game in 2022 if Aaron Rodgers showed up to voluntary OTAs last spring? It's very early because right now it is 100%.
Yeah, it got posted 14 seconds ago.
So
just put it in the field, guys.
And I voted on it, so that's why
I also voted on it. Is that why it's 50-50?
Oh, it was 100%. So yeah, that's probably where it is there right there. But you can chime in 844-770-3776. Would the Packers have won one more game at least if Aaron Rodgers had shown up to voluntary minicamp last year?
Well, you know my take on it. I say no. I don't think it changes things, but I think you and I have found some middle ground, right? Your overarching theme today is that Aaron Rodgers didn't give a damn enough to create chemistry and rapport and friendships with the new targets in Green Bay last year because he was mad at the organization.
Yep.
I don't think you're wrong about that. My overarching theme is that I am sick of talking about something that took place over a year ago that had no real effect on the 2022 season. The Packers stunk. Aaron Rodgers was injured, and they didn't win enough games until the end of the season, and then they choked in the moment where they could have punched their ticket to the playoffs, right? I don't think spring voluntary OTAs changed the outcome of a game played on January 8th, 2023. Sorry.
Can I tell you a Packers Twitter storyline or line that is really driving me insane because it's purposely disingenuous?
Hit me,
as
brother.
the Packers, as the Jets added Alan Lazard and now Randall Cobb.
Yeah, and Billy Turner and Tim Boyle and Nathaniel Hackett.
Right. But the Jets, because here's what I see. The Green Bay Packers never got Aaron Rodgers any weapons, but now he takes those weapons to New York, so I guess they were fine. That is pretty wild because New York...
We're forgetting about their best target, too, Garrett Wilson.
Exactly.
Going to be a superstar in this league.
Right. And so immediately disingenuous. And so that's what bothers me is that the Jets are a more talented team. But here's the other part of it. I don't even need to argue about the offense. Their defense is head and shoulders in front of the Packers defense. And it mainly because, one, their head coach is a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
And Robert Saleh, his defenses have always been good. And then they were a top 5 defense last year. The Packers are middle of the road.
Yeah.
And the Jets, with Joe Flacco and Mike White and Zach Wilson quarterbacking that team, won 7 games, but were dead last offensively. If Aaron Rodgers gets this Jets offense to where the Packers were, which I think was 17th last year, the Jets are going deep into the playoffs.
Wait, hold on. The Packers were the 17th defense. I guess they had a really good stretch at the end of the year.
17th offense.
Oh, okay. I got you. I'm sorry.
And so if he can get this offense to 17th and the defense stays top 10, that team's going deep in the playoffs. That's the difference between
deep, but they're getting in. Yeah.
Well, that's the difference between last year's Packers teams and other Packer teams and this Jets team. This Jets team has a historically great head coach as a defensive coordinator. They were top 5 last year, and there's no reason to think they're going to fall off dramatically as these players get better. So keeping health, they could be a top 5 defense again. And if you have a middle-of-the-road offense with Aaron Rodgers as your QB, you got good chances to make a deep run in the playoffs.
I know people like to hang up on things you say, so I'm going to correct something you just said because you just flipped them around. You called Robert Saleh a historically great head coach as a defensive coordinator. You meant historically great defensive coordinator as a head coach.
Well, exactly. Yes.
Just want to clear that up because obviously Robert Saleh, not a historically great head coach.
We don't know. Yes.
Yet. Very well could be depending on how this turns out. But you're right about all that, and we'll see. I really have no idea what to expect for the Jets. I'm kind of tweening between, like, I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers play well because I like him as a player. He's fun to watch play football, but I also want the Jets to go 1-16, so the Packers have the number 1 overall pick next year, right? So I don't really care what the Jets do. I'll watch. I'll keep an eye on them. You know, it's intriguing also because of all the other former Packers they have that I just rattled off, right? And I wouldn't doubt if Mercedes Lewis joins that team as well, on top of the already Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Billy Turner, Nathaniel Hackett, Packers ties. I think it's a fun team. As Packers fans, there's obviously a lot of ties there, and they're not on the Vikings for once. So, like, you actually can cheer for them, I guess, if you want to, but you also want to cheer for them to lose because you want the number 1 overall pick. But it's interesting because they are in such a stacked conference and really a stacked division with the Bills and the Dolphins. So they could somehow win like 10 games and not make the playoffs just because the AFC is so darn good.
That's what Brett Leclerc chimes in. Jim, with that loaded AFC, Jets will not make the playoffs. And he also said, I normally agree with Strofe, but he's in the wrong today about the Rodgers stuff.
Yeah, it seems to be what a lot of people feel today. That's too bad.
I think the Jets, I'm just doing it simple like this. If they won 7 games with a historically awful offense, Aaron Rodgers is not going to roll out with that. They had a top 5 special teams, top 5 defense. As long as they're within that range and the offense gets to 15, that's a playoff team. I don't wins, losses, whatever. Like, this Jets team will keep. I don't think Packer fans, because you haven't seen it. When was a defensive minded coach the Packers had?
Before my time, man. I don't know if Sherman was offensive.
It would have been Ray Rhodes, I think.
Holy smokes.
Here's the thing: a defensive minded team is going, there's a mindset to it. There's just a mentality to a defensive-minded team. But a defensive-minded team, look at the 49ers with a defensive head coach. I'm actually a bigger fan because there's less risk. The ceiling is higher with an offensive-minded head coach, but the floor is higher with a defensive-minded head coach. And I think this defense, Saleh has proven from San Francisco now to the Jets, he knows how to scheme a defense. So this defense is not going to fall off a cliff. You know who has good defenses? You know who runs a tight ship? Defensive-minded coaches. Special teams, what is that an indication of? How tight of a ship are you running?
Yeah, that's true.
And how many good defensive players do you have? Well, the Jets, when they're looking to add an extra player, when your head coach is a defensive-minded guy, it's a defensive guy, not an offensive guy.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I'm talking myself into the Packers being decent this year.
Of course
I am a little bit. Of course I am, right? But Rich Bisaccia's role, as you bring up special teams, that's what made me think of Bisaccia. By the way, great poll. Ray Rhodes was the last defensive coach. I just looked it up. Rich Bisaccia has a very big hand in operations now, right? Like, there was draft picks that were Bisaccia requested. He got the promotion to assistant head coach. That guy's a dog. And I love that he has a hand in the team. And I heard Willie and Tausch talking about this earlier today, how Rodgers, and we talked about this last week, how Rodgers kind of mentioned how Robert Saleh was an alpha and guys at the Jets were alphas, and it seemed like maybe he was calling LaFleur a beta a little bit. Bisaccia is an alpha, and that guy's got a huge hand in the operations right now. So I'm really excited for what his role will continue to be on top of being the special teams coordinator. Love is doing all the things we wanted Rodgers to do. That's the other part of this we have to keep in mind. We're talking about the voluntary OTAs. We're talking about working out with the receivers in the offseason. Love is doing all of that. And the one obvious big question is we don't know what he is on the field.
He has no choice.
But
he's not getting a contract if he's not doing that stuff.
That's true. But he is doing all those things. And I don't think he was asked to do them, right?
But let's be honest. You would be freaking out. He's doing the bare minimum.
I would be
QB.
Much more frustrated if Jordan Love didn't show up to voluntary OTAs than if.
And I'm not
Rodgers
saying he
didn't.
shouldn't get like a pat, but like he is doing the bare minimum. If you're going to be a starting quarterback,
good.
I guarantee Gardner Minshew's doing something similar with the Colts because he'll probably start the season as a starting quarterback.
You think he'll start over Richardson?
Day one? Richardson's kind of viewed as a prospect. I would imagine Gardner will start.
I hope not. I want to see Richardson. He was one of my
You'll
favorites.
see it. You'll see him. I just don't think day one. But let's not I'm not going to go out of the way. But I will say this: you should be. This is the time of year to be optimistic. You should be optimistic for half the year next year, unless your team starts off poorly.
Yeah, I was just about to say I'm going to be optimistic at Thanksgiving, bro.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just
I'm going to find the bright spots and everything.
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna be
every fan base should this time of year be optimistic. I could sell myself. Couldn't I sell myself on Justin Fields, who had a better year two than Jalen Hurts had a better year two? He can, as a thrower, let alone a passer, that he can make a jump, and the Bears can make a massive jump and win the division, and who knows what happens in the playoffs. That's not a big leap. I pull myself back on it, but this is the time of year you should be excited. Here's a fun little story. Rich Cimini, out in New York reporter, Sauce Gardner, who sat with Aaron Rodgers last night on Celebrity Row at the Knicks game, said Rodgers was teasing him about his age. Oh, look at these two, just best friends now. Old and young guys getting along. We were getting seated, and he's like, we're about ready to sit next to Jessica Alba. I was like, oh, I don't know who that is. And he looked at me like I'm crazy. All these two fun best buddies, old guy, young guy. Who knew it?
But Jimmy,
old guys and young guys can be friends.
Don't be a Richard. You more than most people, and this is before any of the Rodgers or the Jet stuff started. You love Sauce Gardner.
I do.
You asked Mike Tressel about him when we had him on, right? The former defensive coordinator at Cincinnati, now at Wisconsin. You love Sauce Gardner, so you probably love reading this.
I do, but it's just
all
funny.
Rodgers stuff aside.
Yeah, it's just also funny.
But how do you I'm the same age as Sauce Gardner. How the hell does he not know who Jessica Alba is?
What is her biggest thing?
Now you're coming at me wrong.
I honestly don't know.
Was she in like Sex in the City?
She was in Good Luck Chuck. I remember
Is
that
that what she's
movie.
from? Okay.
That's a movie she was.
I know her name. I don't know if I could for sure tell you what she's famous for.
Fantastic Four, the original, like
See,
back
these-
in the
great
early
movie.
2000s.
Great movie.
Those movies stink.
They weren't great, but she was very famous at the time.
Right. And also
She was in Spy Kids. Also a great movie
Spy
for kids.
This is tough. Does she have a good movie?
Good Luck Chuck might be the best.
That's not a
one.
good movie. I mean, it's fine, but
Wasn't
like,
she in a movie with Ben Affleck that was like horrible?
Daredevil?
Could have
think
been.
it
No,
might-
that was Jennifer Garner.
She was in Some Kind of Beautiful. I've never seen that.
Is that like some kind of wonderful? But lesser?
Valentine's Day she was in?
Yeah. Man, that's what. Well, wait, she has 18. What has she been nominated?
Oh,
for?
she's in that movie. I don't know if I could say. I'm going to say it. I'm going to make you decide whether. Yep. Put your hand on the dump button.
I'm ready.
I'm going to say it slow so we're all on the same page. She was in the movie Little Fockers.
I think that clears.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think that's how
You're
you say
saying
that
it wrong
right.
though. That's why.
Well,
It's
I
more
don't.
like caulk. So falk. Yeah.
I did hit it that time.
Yeah.
I hit it that time.
Fair enough.
Why?
Anyway,
It's like
CAULK.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. What the hell are we?
I'm
doing?
not sure if the FCC agrees with it. It would let that one slide. I had to pull the trigger.
All right. Let's just.
You
do
got
this.
two.
All right. Everybody, pivot.
Yeah,
Caller
you got
5,
two worked up there.
Caller
Nothing
5,
to worry about.
Caller 8.
She's
Caller 5,
hold on a
caller
second.
8.
She has not been in anything good. Honestly,
No, she hasn't been. You're right.
that's surprising. She is famous for being famous. Like I'm trying. Sin City.
Well,
That was a big movie.
She's really good looking, Jim. That also has something to do with it. She's probably a model or something as well.
I don't know.
or
she's-
something. Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
She was in 44 episodes of Flipper from 1995 to
I've
1997.
never even heard of that.
Dark Angel. That's her. That must be her big thing. She was in 42 episodes of that, whatever that is.
Yeah, I got nothing.
That's a couple seasons.
Can we just move on? Caller 5, caller 8.
I'm just blown away. Fine. What are we doing? Caller 5 and 8.
That is Minute to Win It, brought to you by our friends at North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. Coming up next, Minute to Win It.
844-770-3776. Callers number
5 and 8.
844-770-3776. Compete against me and Alex Strofe. We're going to do Jessica Alba movies.
Yeah, totally.
Is it a real movie or is it fake? Again, you're going to win a $50 gift card, North and South Seafood and Smokehouse, if you pick the right person. Caller number
5 and 8.
844-770-3776. You're both qualified. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. Miss any of the show? Find full show podcasts free on Wisconsin On Demand and wherever you get your podcasts. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts. With the NFL draft in the rearview mirror, two former Badgers who didn't get drafted are getting their first opportunities in the NFL. Offensive lineman Tyler Beach has signed with the Houston Texans as an undrafted free agent, and safety John Torchio has two scheduled tryouts, the first of which with former teammate Joe Tippmann's new team, the New York Jets. If the Jets do not sign Torchio after his tryout, he will have a second tryout with the Tennessee Titans. Continued coverage on Badgers and draft over at ESPNWisconsin.com.
Badger Minutes on ESPN Wisconsin are brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule an appointment online today at PellaWI.com.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Gold medalist Matt Hamilton here to tell you about Wisconsin's best choice for roofing, siding, windows, and doors, Ridgetop Exteriors. I know they're the trusted local experts who consider customer service their number one goal, but don't just take my word for it. Jake and Dawn are both recent customers who left 5-star reviews for the outstanding service and quality of work on their projects. Get a free estimate for your home project today by logging on to ridgetopexteriors.com. Visit ridgetopexteriors.com.
If you're looking to purchase, finance, or service a new or pre-owned Honda, buy local. Shop Zimbrick Honda. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at two convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Oil changes, brakes, alignments, and warranties. Honda's certified technicians handle it all. And if you need new tires, buy 3 and get the 4th for just $1 when they mount and balance them for you. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Hi, I'm Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock with Retirement Income Strategies. And what sets us apart is we're an independent, family-run office. We help clients like you understand the financial world and build a portfolio that's in your best interest. To learn more, go to MadisonMoneyGuy.com.
Sign-ups are now open for the inaugural ESPN Madison Open. Head to ESPNMadisonOpen.com to purchase your foursome today. The ESPN Madison Open tees off on July 17th at Trapper's Turn in the Wisconsin Dells. We've partnered with Coors Light and the Catch Foundation for this exclusive event, and now you can experience it too. You'll enjoy food, drinks, and swag while getting in 18 holes of golf with Wisconsin sports stars like Mark Tauscher and Matt Hamilton. The spots are limited. Head to ESPNMadisonOpen.com. That's ESPNMadisonOpen.com.
Hi, I'm Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock with Retirement Income Strategies. And what sets us apart is we're an independent, family-run office. We help clients like you understand the financial world and build a portfolio that's in your best interest. To learn more, go to MadisonMoneyGuy.com.
Stoughton Health provides comprehensive and compassionate care to Stoughton community and the entire Madison area. From our sports rehab facilities in Oregon and Stoughton to our renowned ortho team with Dr. Ravel, Stoughton Health can help. Learn more at StoughtonHealth.com.
Forward Madison FC's professional soccer season is in full swing from Breeze Stevens Field. The Flamingos' next home game is Thursday, May 18th at 7 p.m., only 4 days after Mother's Day. To celebrate, Forward Madison has the perfect ticket package for any mom in your life. Get a ticket, belt bag, can of wine, and bumper stickers starting at just $33. To purchase this package or single game tickets, head to ForwardMadisonFC.com. Forward Madison, fun for all.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Ridgetop Exteriors.
Rutledge and Hamilton continues live from the Spark Building. We're going to get into Minute to Win It in a minute, brought to you by our good friends at North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. Verona, Madison, DeForest, all those great locations. And the winner of this gets a $50 gift card, which you can use in any 3 of those locations. Enjoy some brisket, some great seafood. The smoked salmon is amazing. Their shrimp is outstanding. Of course, they're the official barbecue joint of Rutledge and Hamilton. So feel free to go there whenever you want. You can get it delivered. You can pick it up. You can have them catered. North and South Seafood Smokehouse is fantastic. And now we're going to get into a minute to win it.
Are you on Team Rutledge or Team Hamilton?
I don't want to pick sides.
This is the Minute to Win It, presented by North and South Seafood and Smokehouse, with 3 locations in Madison, DeForest, and Verona.
So, as we know, yesterday was the deadline to pick up the 5th-year option for players drafted in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft.
Yep.
Jim, obviously, we know that Jordan Love did not have his picked up, but there were 12 2020 first-round draft picks who did. So I pulled the list of the 12 who did have their options picked up, and that's our list for Minute to Win It this week. Obviously, we usually only have 10 that we'll go to. So if you do manage to get 10 of the 12, we can stop there.
All right.
So I don't imagine you or Strofe will manage to get 10 of the 12. But I'll give you a second to think about it. Think about the 2020 draft, Jim, who was in that first round. And whenever you're ready, we can go ahead and get started. By the way, Derek from Wanakee picked you this week. So
Man, Derek, and I'm mad at myself because I even looked at this and I was like, I'll get back to it just from like my own like research purposes.
Yep.
I hadn't got a chance to get back to it yet. So, all right, start me up.
All right, here we go.
Justin Herbert.
That is correct.
All righty. So, who else was taken in that draft? So Herbert was the quarterback.
He was the 5th pick in the draft.
Yes. So, well, the quarterbacks were taken in that draft here.
A few popular ones.
Yeah, I know. Is that Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow is also correct. Yep. He was first overall.
Tua?
That is also correct. Those are the 3 big quarterbacks outside of Jordan Love.
All right. So then there's that. Now it's going to start getting much more difficult. Justin Jefferson?
That is also correct.
Okay. I'm trying to think of younger, really good players here. So
got 25 seconds left.
On the defensive side of the ball, I know that Chase Young was not picked up. So Patrick Queen was
There's
not
only
picked
2 defenders on the list. I'll give you that.
All righty. Man, that's going to be tough. Offensively, other good young players, running backs.
10 seconds.
Man.
You got 3 wrong answers. Start throwing them out there.
Jamar Chase. That's wrong.
Jamar Chase was not in that draft. No,
Yeah.
I apologize, Jim. There were 2 defenders in the draft. AJ Terrell and Derek Brown were the only 2 defenders.
I would not have gotten them at all.
Yeah,
All right.
no, they have been forgotten to the annals of history already.
Yes.
After only 4 years, much like Jordan Love.
All right, here comes Alex Strofe. This one is either you're going to hit it because you like happen to look it up, or you're going to be.
What the hell took so long? I feel like that took forever.
Well, he
The
set it
call-
up a little bit too, but yeah.
There was a big setup. There was a bit of a setup, and the callers took a while to field. But we'll go ahead and we'll get into it. So, Strofe,
yeah.
you'll have Brandon from Mount Horeb.
All right, let's
playing
go,
for you
Brandon.
this week.
Did I get chosen?
You were chosen.
Oh,
yes. You were the one chosen.
Shout out to you, Brandon. Let's go, baby.
Well, let's see if you made a good decision because
He did.
obviously yesterday was the deadline to pick up the 5th-year option for 2020 first rounders.
Yep.
We know Jordan Love didn't have his picked up, but there were 12 players who did have their 5th-year option picked up.
Boy.
So obviously we usually only have 10 possible options on the list. So if you do get to 10, we can stop it there. But I don't imagine.
So
I don't imagine
I'm doing it for players that were picked up.
that did have it picked
I
up.
literally
the 12
looked
players.
at the list yesterday of players that didn't have it picked up. So that doesn't really help me.
No.
Well,
yeah, let's go.
Help you a
This is the
little bit.
2020 draft, right?
2020
Okay.
draft.
Let's
All
go to
right,
work.
Here we go.
Joe Burrow.
That is correct. Joe Burrow is first.
Justin Jefferson.
That is also correct. He was the 22nd pick.
Oh boy. Who
I
else?
predict we
would-
might tie on this.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones was not in that draft.
Was he 21? I thought he was
He's
20.
field strap. Yep.
Okay. Who else was 20? Who were the other quarterbacks in that class? So it was
There's
Burrow,
a big quarterback here.
Burrow, Love, Tua Tagovailoa.
That is correct. Tua did have his option picked up.
And there was one more in that draft before Love and between Tua and Burrow. But who was it?
You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know. I hear it. Leave me alone, Ryan. How many do I have right now? 3?
You have 3.
Jim, you want to tell me how many you got?
Honestly, I don't know.
Jim
But
got 4.
You've got nobody I have not got.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm forgetting who the other quarterback was. I know Patrick Queen didn't get his picked up. I'm just trying to think
Now
who
you're
was
literally
drafted,
doing exactly
who
what
was
I did
drafted
too.
around him.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Chase Young was not picked up either.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I did see that, though. I don't know. I don't remember who the other quarterback in the class was. I'm blanking on it.
You're going to be upset with that.
I am. You're right. It was a high pick, too.
Herbert.
Did his
Fifth
get picked up?
overall.
Did his
Fifth
get picked
overall.
up?
Did
he get
Justin
picked up?
Herbert get picked up? Yeah, I think Justin Herbert got
I didn't know
picked
if
up.
maybe he did an extension like Love. I don't know, because Love's technically didn't get picked up. Who else did I miss?
So the other 8 players who neither of you guys mentioned
That was
were
tough.
Andrew Thomas, the tackle from the New York Giants.
I don't even know who that
You never
is.
would have gotten that one.
The defensive
that's
guys,
fair.
I was like, yeah, who?
And then the first defensive guy was Derek Brown from the Carolina Panthers. He was
Nope.
the 7th pick. Jedrick Wills, another tackle from the Browns.
Nope.
Then there's Tristan Wirfs, tackle from the Buccaneers. A lot of tackles in this.
Didn't
one.
realize he
tackles
was
and
in
quarterbacks.
2020.
Then Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver. with the
Okay,
Broncos.
that one hurts. Yeah.
That was a
did
big one
see
from
that
yesterday.
one.
And then the second defender who had his picked up, AJ Terrell, the corner for the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm familiar, but
Pretty-
the Falcons.
Yeah, not a well-known name, that's for sure.
Well, because also for both of us, but especially Stroke, like these aren't fantasy players, so that even hurts more. Like
True.
tackles and a cornerback on a bad football team, outside of like if the
This
Packers.
is kind of a fun category. Though.
It was.
One guy who is a big fantasy player, CeeDee Lamb from the Cowboys. Also had he was picked.
He was 2020.
He was 5 picks before Justin Jefferson, who you guys both got. And then the final player, another wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers.
See, those are just tough because it's really hard to nail down when a receiver is picked. Like,
Yeah, it is.
Those,
That-
none of those
I know that was a
surprise
big
me,
draft,
but like,
but-
yeah, trying to nail down when they're picked and all that is difficult.
Hey,
but,
even though I lost, I'm sorry, Brandon and Mount Horeb. That's on me. That was a fun category. Nice job, Brian.
well, and who won?
And
You won.
Jim, you are the winner.
No, but I mean, who got the $50 gift card?
Oh, who got the gift card? That would be Brandon from Mount Horeb. Congratulations,
I thought Brandon
Brandon.
from Mount Horeb picked me.
Oh, no, excuse me. You're right. He did pick you. Brandon from Mount Horeb, you are the loser. Derek from Wanakee is the winner.
This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
Clinical trials are essential to advancing medications, vaccines, and devices. LabCorp has been conducting clinical trials for over 40 years and has helped bring many of the medications we use today to market. You may be compensated.
Which players from the 2020 draft got their options picked up? That's an interesting one. They struggled.
I'm sure they did. It's not like.
No, it's not the easiest.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN Madison studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Madison. I'm Ryan Wollersheim, and this is your Sports Center update brought to you by Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin's Road America. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Bring the entire family for affordable fun with on-site camping, free parking, and free admission for kids 16 and younger. Breaking news this morning from ESPN's Adam Schefter as the New York Jets finally expected to join up with wide receiver Randall Cobbs. He's following his former quarterback Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay to the Jets. The two played multiple seasons together in Green Bay and had over 650 combined receptions with one another. They'll be gelling together in East Rutherford next season. Here's what Aaron Rodgers had to say on the Pat McAfee show yesterday when talking about settling in with his new team in New York.
But I knew with a new team that I'm going to have to be here a little bit more just to get to know the guys, let them feel the cadence, and start to, step into the leadership role that is going to be open for my, seamless transition there as a quarterback.
Milwaukee Brewers also lost yesterday to the Colorado Rockies 3-2. They'll play against the Rockies again tonight. Eric Lauer is set to pitch at 7:40 p.m.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or visit metrokiaofmadison.com.
You got the show.
Everybody's ego takes a shot on this show.
This is Rutledge and Hamilton with Jim Rutledge and Matt Hamilton, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN.
But I knew with a new team that I'm going to have to be here a little bit more just to get to know the guys, let them feel the cadence, and start to step into the leadership role that is going to be open for my, seamless transition there as a quarterback.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN Madison studio with Matt Hamilton, here's Jim Rutledge.
Aaron Rodgers is not a dumb man, so he knew what he was saying. He had to as the words come out of his mouth of, it's important for me to be here for the new guys to fill that leadership role that I have. They can learn my cadence. They can learn, a little bit more about me.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Because
I'll admit that.
Watson, Dobbs, Watkins, and Lazard in the new spot. There was a really, and even DeGuara, Tunya was probably the only regular skill pass catcher that was not in a new position. Torre as well for the Packers. Just a lot.
Don't leave out Danny Davis, Jim.
Danny Davis.
He was there last year.
Yeah, but as far as affecting the season, it would have helped. And that's Aaron Rodgers talking about being at OTAs. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, voluntary workouts presented by Coors Light.
Yeah, so what annoys me about that, because obviously I've been pretty pro Rodgers today, is that he references the cadence, right? If he would have been like, yeah, I've played in a Hackett offense before, but it's been a few years, just wanted to make sure I'm still up to snuff on that, that would have been fine. But for the younger guys to hear his cadence, you're absolutely right. He knew what he was saying when he said that. And that's annoying because of what happened last year. And again, I don't really care that he didn't show up to voluntary OTs last year, but for the very next year to say that when you were in a room full of a bunch of new wide receivers, it's annoying for sure.
Yeah. And Aaron is, again, he's calculating.
He knew what he was doing. Yeah.
Would the Packers have won one more game in 2022 if Aaron Rodgers showed up to voluntary OTA? 60% of you say yes. And 83% of you say no, Aaron Rodgers was not fully bought in last year with the Green Bay Packers.
All right.
Randall Cobb out in New York. Which one's gonna, does Randall Cobb sting if he's out there having a good time, or are you just happy for him?
No, I'm just happy he gets another opportunity, right? Like Green Bay for the last couple of years is where free agents that weren't going to sign anywhere else went to die. That has now become the New York Jets problem because it is a package deal with Aaron Rodgers.
No wish list though.
But look, that was, I can't believe that. I think he was mad because the word demands was used, even though it wasn't actually used. Wish list was the term used by Diana Rossini of ESPN.
Yeah, demands was actually Aaron Rodgers.
But no, Randall Cobb, I think we can all agree on this. You're a Bears fan, so you played against him for a long time, but he's like an all-time good guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's like a great locker room guy. I don't expect him to have a very big season by any means, but no, I'm happy he gets another chance in the NFL. Similarly to Hackett, he couldn't hack it, pun intended, in Denver last year. So for him to get another chance too, I mean, it's neat. It's kind of strange they're all in New York. I know it's the Aaron Rodgers effect, and Green Bay isn't much of a destination. Players come there to play with him, but New York, well, that's a destination. The players don't come there to just play with Aaron Rodgers. They go there to play in New York.
The last time that I would say Randall Cobb was a truly effective wide receiver, and I'll be generous, was 2019 with Dallas. 55 catches for 828 yards.
He can't stay healthy.
I would like to point this out. I was right on two things last year, and Matt's not here. Randall Cobb did not get the touchdown total that Matt Hamilton was betting on he would get to.
Yeah, we were just confused on who was going to.
And then Amari Rodgers, he got one. So whatever the number was, he didn't get there.
Yeah, I think it was 5 or 6 probably.
And then also Amari Rodgers did bupkis.
That has gone down as the worst prediction in the history of the show.
Matt got sucked into what happens. It's pure as what we know is going to happen right now is every Packer fan blogger is giving their team an A, and with gusto. Yet we just talked about only 12 guys had their 5th-year option picked up out of the first round in 2020. Jordan Love not being one of them. But we all speak with gusto that all these guys are going to be great.
I will say I am more excited about this draft than I have been in past years. I really am. I think Jaden Reed is the big question mark, the wide receiver from Michigan State that they took in the second round. He has the ability to have some, I'm not calling him Tyreek Hill or Deebo Samuel, but he has a little bit of each of those guys in him. Where you've used the term gadgety with him.
Well,
he's quick. He's small. He can do some fun things in an offense that maybe we haven't seen out of a Matt LaFleur system in Green Bay before. I don't know that you'll see it in year one, but I think Jaden Reed is the fun, I wonder what he'll turn into.
My favorite thing I saw about him online, and I don't have it exactly, but someone's like, oh, people are comparing Jaden Reed to Randall Cobb, but he's closer to, and they started listing off some of his receivers. And I was like, they're like, oh, he's essentially 5'12", but then rounded down on all the other receivers. So Jaden Reed is 5'11". So they rounded him up. They're like, he's essentially 5'12", 187.
5'12"?
Or I'm sorry, 6 feet. Sorry. But basically he's 6 feet, 187.
I thought that was your gripe with the tweet.
No.
They said he was 5'12".
So the part of it what made me laugh was that he that they would round down the other guys. So like, oh well, Justin Jefferson's like 6'1", he's 6'2", but like he's basically this guy. No, he's not. But Deebo Samuel is an insane comp because Deebo Samuel is actually 6 feet, but he is 20 pounds or 23 pounds heavier.
I'm not saying he.
So
well, right,
but I just want to point that out. Like
those
Deebo,
guys.
he can't be deep. Maybe who was the other guy you said?
I said Tyreek.
Maybe Tyreek. I don't know the speed part of it.
He's not as quick.
But
no.
Deebo is a beast. Like he is built like a running back.
Yes, that's true.
That can. That's what makes him so special. If Deebo couldn't run the ball, like yes, he's a great pass catcher, but it's the running with the pass catching that makes him a freak of nature.
For sure.
If Jaden Reed can be a 55 catch version of Randall Cobb,
I'm honestly
you're through the moon for it. So let's be fair to the guy and say, hey, maybe he can fill a Randall Cobb role, even Randall Cobb of 3 years ago when he was catching 40 passes.
Once again, I'm not saying he's going to be Tyreek Hill or Deebo Samuel. He's just got a little bit of like their intangibles and a little bit of the size.
Did you hear the Michigan State recruiting tie with Jaden Reed?
I did not.
So coaches started negative selling. I forget the receiver who left Michigan State, just left Michigan State. Keon Coleman. They started reaching out to him saying that, hey, Jaden Reed would have gone higher in the draft if he had a capable quarterback throwing the football. You should get out of Michigan State so you can be a higher draft pick and not suffer the same fate that Jaden Reed had.
Really?
And then he portaled.
But
really,
he's apparently considering coming back now.
Wait,
too.
time out. So Michigan State internally told him this?
No, people like
in the NFL.
Yeah, no, other programs to negative recruit the program he's on to pull him over.
Dude, college football is so wild. Like there is no rules at all. That should not be legal. I love that.
Did you guess see what happened immediately after he entered the portal as well?
No.
Then Michigan State's quarterback entered the portal, Peyton Thorne.
Wow.
So they're losing their quarterback and Keon
Holy
Coleman.
crap.
And part of the reason that Keon Coleman apparently entered the portal was because these negative naysayers trying to get him to go to other schools were saying that if you play with Peyton Thorne, your stats going to go down. So then after Peyton Thorne entered the portal, now Keon Coleman is apparently considering returning to Michigan State after already entering.
So you're the college football buff on the show right now. Who would be the quarterback in Michigan State? Do you know that off the
It'd
top
be
of your head?
Noah Kim. He has a transfer from North Carolina. So would have been there with Phil Longo.
Yeah.
I don't think there's very high expectations for him. He's obviously a one-time transfer, so he had to transfer for a reason. But
Drake May.
Drake May. Well,
One
I
of the best
think he
quarterbacks
was
in the country.
But Noah Kim, I think, was there before Drake May was.
Oh,
so he's probably
Wow.
a decent quarterback. But either way, it's a big S show over at Michigan State. Right
no
now.
kid. That is unbelievable. I totally did not see that. I'm so glad you brought that up to me without me vetting it. That is unreal.
Let's throw some stones next segment. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. The mountains are blue, and we can prove it. Follow the show on Twitter at Jim and Matt.
If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for any occasion, Condon Jewelers is always there for you. Condon Jewelers has the best selection of jewelry you'll ever find and guaranteed to have the lowest prices in the Madison area. Free shipping is always available. Visit CondonJeweler.com or call 241-3406 and ask for Jim, the owner, who's at the store every day. Shop locally. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Jim Rutledge here to tell you about North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. North and South serves authentic wood-fired barbecue as well as savory seafood for both lunch and dinner. Whether it's North and South in DeForest, Verona, or the west side of Madison, you'll enjoy the best smart casual dining experience in the area. They also have takeout and catering options, so find your way over to North and South Seafood and Smokehouse, the official barbecue place of Rutledge and Hamilton. They're online at eatnorthandsouth.com.
Life's more rewarding at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, especially when it comes to lawn care. Right now, get unbeatable deals on a huge selection of lawn tractors, mowers, and more. Right now, get a free DeWalt blower when you buy any DeWalt cordless mower, a $220 value free. Shop Cub Cadet, Husqvarna, and Craftsman Zero Turns or Riders. While you're in for mowers, get 10% off assorted JMF plumbing supplies and save $20 on a 40-gallon Reliance tall water heater.
Find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Are you looking for an exciting new career opportunity in Dane County? Look no further. Phase Electric is now hiring electricians of all experience levels. Phase Electric provides competitive top pay, 40-hour work weeks, and full benefit packages for both commercial and residential electricians. To learn more, visit phaseelectric.com. That's PHAZE electric.com. Work with a company that prides themselves on being a phase above the competition. And remember, in order to be the best, you need to work with the best.
Matt Hamilton here to tell you signups are now open for the inaugural ESPN Madison Open. Head to ESPNMadisonOpen.com to purchase your foursome today. The ESPN Madison Open tees off July 17th at Trappers Turn. We've partnered with Coors Light and the Catch Foundation for this exclusive event, and you can experience it too. You'll enjoy food, drinks, swag, and while getting in 18 holes with Wisconsin sports stars like me. But spots are limited. Head to ESPNMadisonOpen.com. That's ESPNMadisonOpen.com to sign up now.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at v.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Carbon World Health.
You're over my head, I'm out of my mind. Thinking I was born in the wrong time. One of a kind, living in a world gone plastic. Baby, you're so classic. Baby, you're so classic. Baby, you're so classic. Oh, a dozen roses.
Welcome back to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. He's Alex Strofe. I am Jim Rutledge.
Yeah, you are.
We're live from the Spark Building. Ryan Walsh, I'm behind the glass. Let's throw some stones.
Stones, huh?
Did I say yes?
The guys live in glass houses, but that's never stopped them before.
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
It's time to throw some stones.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
On Rutledge and Hamilton, brought to you by Metro Kia Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealership.
So, guys, each and every day, I waste a ton of time on Twitter, and it leaves me with a lot more questions than answers. So I come to you guys, Jim and Alex, to give me some of those answers.
I got you.
I'll score the answers throughout, and at the end, we will crown a winner of Throwing Stones. So, as Jim was mentioning earlier, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, seen at the Knicks game with Sauce Gardner 2 nights ago, as well as Jessica Alba, Mike Myers, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle,
Carmelo Anthony,
wild to see him at a Knicks game. So I ask you guys, if you happen to be seated at a professional basketball game courtside and you were next to a celebrity like that, do you reach over and say hello just as a complete stranger, or do you leave them be? Alex, I'll start with you.
Hold on. I got to set it up again. I'm sitting directly next to them.
Yes, we'll say you're sitting right next to them.
I'm absolutely making a comment, but I'm not going to start it off by like, hey, my name is Alex Strofe. Nice to meet you. It's more like, wow, what a shot that was, huh? Oh, hey, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you, Jessica. How you doing, sweetheart?
I loved you in what movie would you say you love her in?
Spy Kids.
Spy Kids, there you go.
I loved Spy Kids as a kid. I would probably say yes, I'm directly next to them. I mean, it'd be impossible to go 3 hours without talking to the person next to you. It reminds me of when I went to a game at TD Garden in Boston. Now, I was not courtside. I was in like the top deck when I visited Boston last year. And I sat next to a real-life Peter Griffin. And we became best friends. Peter Griffin from Family Guy. He had the thicker accent. He just talked crap about Kyrie Irving, who did not play in that game. It was Celtics Pacers. Kyrie was on the Nets at that point. He spent the entire game talking about Kyrie and how much he hated him. And we became buds. We were sitting next to each other for 3 hours. Naturally going to happen.
You sure it wasn't just Seth MacFarlane? If he sounded that much like Peter Griffin?
No, he was the size of Peter Griffin.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, I don't talk to a lot of people if I'm at a game. I'm talking to like who I'm with, and I'm usually probably spent by the end of that time of talking to people.
But
so
if Jessica Alba
so that's different. I just wanted to point out that I honestly don't know what's more normal. If I'm not going out of my way to talk to people in the section with me. If they talk to me, I'll talk to them. But otherwise, like, I'm just here to watch the game. I don't need to make best friends with people I'm never going to see again in my life. So if I sit through the whole game and never interact with the people around me, I am completely fine with that. But except for the people I'm coming with.
Yeah.
I would wait for an in. So I would not guarantee that I would have it. But if there's like a second where there's a high five opportunity or whatever, you can make it. I almost try to make like a joke. Like, hey, are you famous or something? Or are you in movies? like something where it's more just kind of like a tongue.
Real original, Jim.
Tongue in cheek, as opposed to, hey, what do you think about this game? Like, you're so much original. That's for me. I would probably just make some.
Jessica Alba's ever been asked, "Oh, are you famous or something?
Do you think right?
Are you in a movie or something?"
Do you think nobody else has also asked, like, "Hey, what do you think of the score of the game?" There's no original approach to it. I'm just going to be me. And if I was going to lean in and talk to anyone, I would probably
Jessica, what do you think of that Richard Aaron Rodgers?
Right, but like maybe I would. Are you a Packers fan, Jessica? Like, I would lean in with something that I'm comfortable with. Is the point? Alex Strofe is a attention-loving cornball, so he will lean into like, hey, how about those Knicks? I will try to play it more subdued and might not even have the opportunity. I only even say that is if like someone came up to her and like try to get a photo or something like that and then say, oh, are you famous or something, as a joke. That's how I would do it. And if the opportunity didn't present itself, I wouldn't do it. I don't need it.
What do you think?
Okay. Alex needs apparently strangers at a Boston Celtics game to like him. I don't need Jessica Alba to like me or know that I exist in the world because she'll forget it immediately.
I made my bar league volleyball debut last night, as we talked about a little bit. It went well, but we lost. But I don't think one of the guys on my team likes me because I'm outgoing, I'm loud, I'm talking a lot when I'm on the court. I got in his space a little bit.
Why would you?
Well, it wasn't on purpose. It was like a ball landed between us. I was in front of him.
Well, when you say got in his face a little bit, you're like
space.
Oh,
S-P-A-C.
I thought you said face. I'm like, what's up, bro?
No.
Hit the ball
so
back.
I was front center. He was back middle and back row middle. And a ball came like over my head, and he's like, I got it. And then he didn't get it. It just hit the sand. And he's like, can you step up a few steps, man? And my response to him was, yeah, I'll just stand under the net. No problem. And that was our only interaction of the night. So not a hot start.
Great story.
What about that night went well then? You've lost and you annoyed one of your teammates.
We went 2-1. We won one of our final set. We won, which was amazing. The team we were playing filled with people our age and one like old guy, older than you, Jimmy. I'm talking in his 50s or 60s.
As old as that sand out there.
Dude,
then, huh?
He was dicing us up.
Yeah,
he had like 10 serves.
I would
imagine.
I would have bet on that. Like, if I show up for basketball and there's an old guy there, I'm gonna assume like that guy can ball out.
And you know me, right? So like I'm trying to get him to crack after like the sixth serve. We can't return. So I go, hey man, can you take it easy on us, please? And he laughs, and then he hits one right at me, and of course I miss it. I biff on it. So anyway, go ahead.
All right. Well, going off that, some got lost in translation with Strofe and his teammate there, but today is the first Wednesday of May, which means it's National Interpreter Appreciation Day. So I ask you guys, if you could speak any language, be an interpreter for any language, what would it be? And if you have a why, give us a why. Jim, start with you.
So if I could be an interpreter?
If you could speak any language, if you could be an interpreter of any language.
French. It's a beautiful language. I know that Spanish should be the most like universal and probably
useful. For
yeah,
sure,
absolutely. And that clearly that's the right answer because we should all speak more than one language in this country. But I'd want to learn French. And I think once you learn any language outside of English, you can learn the other ones pretty quickly because they all follow the same structure. We're the only ones that
the
just
Romance
do our
languages.
own. Yeah. We're the only ones that do our own weird thing with words. So I'll say French though. I think it's beautiful language.
All right, I'm spin zoning this and asking a different question. Am I a bad boyfriend? My girlfriend speaks fluent Spanish. She's a Spanish teacher. We watch movies and TV shows with the Spanish subtitles, but we've been together 3.5 years. I have not learned Spanish yet. Am I a bad boyfriend?
I think learning a foreign language is incredibly difficult. So no.
Okay.
You didn't take Spanish in high school? You don't know?
I did. I actually took 4 years of Spanish in high school.
Well, then
you
don't remember a single thing.
We went to Mexico in November, and I've told this story before, but we got in the cab from the airport, and the taxi driver doesn't speak English, obviously. So my girlfriend handles that, right? So she's talking to him. I never heard the word cerveza, which means beer, and all of a sudden there's a beer in my hand, and I look at her. I go, "What did you say to that man?" I have no idea what you said because cerveza, that's a word I know, right? That's one of the few words you need to know if you're going to Mexico.
Of course.
And a cerveza ended up in my hand. Who knows?
Sounds like a Jimmy Buffett song right there.
Cerveza in my hand.
Cerveza in your hand. I mean, dang.
And I don't know how it got there.
Oh,
That's a great call. Jimmy Buffett. We should ghostwrite for him.
if Jimmy Buffett was at the New York Knicks game, would you say hi to him?
Absolutely. I would say my dad is a massive fan.
Me too. Me too.
All right. Well, that was all I had today for throwing stones. But since Jim
Wait,
gave
what do you, not to like give myself not a win, but what are you doing, man? Like this is supposed to go to 3:30. You only got 2 for us?
well, we have Eric Name coming on. I want to make sure there's enough time. We get him on. I want to give him his.
I'm actually Team Ryan here.
I want to give him
We
his.
need to have a long conversation with Eric.
Okay.
Yes, I agree. Which is why we'll have to give it to Jim once again. Hey, he's the cultured one who's learning languages outside of Cerveza. You can't just learn Cerveza.
Yeah, you ugly American. This is Rutledge and Hamilton presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. Miss any of the show? Find full show podcasts free on Wisconsin On Demand and wherever you get your podcasts.
Matt Hamilton here to tell you about my friends at Revive Restoration. Nobody plans for accidents to happen, but when they do, you can count on Revive to be professional, efficient, and detail-oriented as they make things right again. Revive Restoration.
Get on board. The water is open. It's time to go boating and fishing and leave stress in our wake. Feel the wind as we ride and a fish on the line. Reel in our first catch and feel the sun at our backs. It's get out on the water season. It's time to get on board. Find out where to get on board near you. Visit Take Me Fishing and Discover Boating to learn more. And please recreate responsibly. Get on board. Get on board.
Looking to make an impact in your community? Consider applying to become a mentor with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County currently serves nearly 500 children and has over 200 waiting to be matched with a mentor like you. No skills are required, just a desire to make a difference in the lives of children. Make a big impact. Volunteer today at bbbsmadison.org to complete your application. That's bbbsmadison.org. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County. Together, we are defenders of potential.
Wild Rock Golf in the Wisconsin Dells, a must-play every golf season. Wild Rock Golf features championship golf in the heart of Wisconsin. Wild Rock, a Herdston Fry masterpiece that's cut from the natural beauty of the Wisconsin Dells and offers stunning views from elevated tee boxes. Wild Rock presents spectacular greens that roll fast and true. Wild Rock Golf in the Wisconsin Dells, a unique gem that offers a challenge to avid golfers of all abilities. Book your tee time today for this must-play at wildrockgolf.com, wildrockgolf.com.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. Looking for a team to play for in the spring and summer of 2024? Rays tryouts begin in July and August, and signups are open now. Since 2010, the Rays have developed over 370 college players, including over 140 committed to play Division I baseball and 17 MLB draft picks. Rays baseball, raise your game.
Forward Madison FC's professional soccer season is in full swing from Breeze Stevens Field. The Flamingos' next home game is Thursday, May 18th at 7 p.m., only 4 days after Mother's Day. To celebrate, Forward Madison has the perfect ticket package for any mom in your life. Get a ticket, belt bag, can of wine, and bumper stickers starting at just $33. To purchase this package or single game tickets, head to forwardmadisonfc.com. Forward Madison, fun for all.
Breaking news on ESPN Madison is presented by Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or visit metrokiaofmadison.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. I joined the Princeton Club because I was looking for a place I could invest in my health, and the environment and the community I have felt has made it so easy for me to incorporate it into my everyday life. It doesn't matter where you're at in your fitness journey because they have something to offer everyone. It also goes beyond fitness. From the moment you walk in the club to the moment you walk out, there is a togetherness felt throughout the members and staff that keeps you going for your better tomorrow. Don't wait any longer and get started on your fitness journey today at PrincetonClub.net. That's PrincetonClub.net.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm Vice President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Ho Chunk Gaming Medicine.
Basketball, give me the ball because I'm gonna dunk it!
Locked in on the Bucks.
No, never in a million years.
Bringing the insight and the analysis.
I do hate trash calls.
2022 Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Eric Name of The Athletic, is on Rutledge and Hamilton.
The famous Eric Name joining us here on The Athletic. Eric, thank you so much for coming on. We have so much to talk about with the Milwaukee Bucks and the offseason, which is not where I thought we'd be today, not where I would imagine the organization and Giannis and everyone else thought they'd be today. But I wanted to start, I want to get this out of the way, and I don't know if you know the answer to it, but I wanted to, there's obviously the tragedy around Coach Budenholzer and his brother. Did the players know what was going on with Coach Bud during the series? Because I wonder if that colored the very deep and introspective answer that Giannis gave to you about the season.
I don't have the slightest idea.
Okay. I was just curious on that part of it, is if he knew, because I loved Giannis's answer. I loved your question. And I thought it was, two parts of, maybe fans and media can call it a failure, but as a player, it gave and I wanted to get your thoughts, and I thought it gave an insight into how a player can gear themselves up for the grind of every season. Because if you played a year and the judged only on winning the title, that's a really tough way to live. And that Giannis, I thought, gave a really good insight into that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was super surprised that Giannis does not really view the game and seasons in like binary terms like that, like win, loss, failure, success. That isn't really what he's been about. He tends to think about things pretty philosophically and tends to attack these ideas at a pretty highly intellectual level. So I wasn't necessarily super surprised. I think it's going to be really interesting kind of going forward where they go from here. I think it's a great approach. I think it's a great way to view things, and I think keep yourself going. I also am genuinely curious, how they feel like they're doing in that process. If this is just a step towards success, what steps do they feel like they took this season? Because, at the end of the season in that final game, they did a lot of things wrong that they didn't do wrong in the past. And that's where, I'm trying to piece together where the building is and where, you are taking those steps forward and what steps come next from that. So, it was a very interesting answer and not necessarily something that I think was a huge surprise. Giannis tends to have pretty interesting thoughts on what I believe many people think are simple concepts in the world of sports. But where they go from here is really going to be interesting to watch.
Were you surprised by the reaction? I mean, it was such a great answer, and I'm sure you viewed it that way in the moment, right? It's he's such a thought out and a well thought out guy. But were you surprised by the reaction to the question and the answer, because it was everywhere, Eric? You became an overnight sensation nationwide.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think a whole lot of it.
Right.
This is just kind of what I do. I ask questions and get answers from people. That's a large part of my job. So yeah, I was surprised that it did turn into this larger dialogue and larger conversation. That was not something I was expecting.
Did you have to turn off notifications on Twitter?
Yes.
That's fair.
Talking with Eric Name from The Athletic, and now we move to the nuts and bolts of the offseason here, and he wrote a great piece on The Athletic. I think he put it up yesterday, and it is really insightful because this is an incredibly, possibly franchise-changing offseason in front of Milwaukee. Coaching will be looked at, players will be looked at, and fair or unfair, the fan base is going to have a hard time buying in if it is, in the long run, run it all back. Maybe even if that's the right decision, it's going to be hard for people to get excited about this team if everything is back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be really a tough offseason. There's going to be a lot of difficult decisions to make. I think, how you evaluate, it starts with how you evaluate Mike Budenholzer's job. And obviously the tragic events of the last couple weeks of his life, I think, complicate that decision in what happens next even more, because it's a truly terrible, unimaginable thing to go through, and to go through during the most important, part of your professional life, makes it really difficult. And I think we'll see how the organization, goes through any of those things, goes through those decisions. But, I think when you look at the job done in Game 5, it was not Mike Budenholzer's best effort. There were mistakes made. I don't know if they knew they had a timeout with half a second left in regulation. And if they did, they made a mistake in not calling it, which Mike Budenholzer admitted after the game. You look back to the play with 2 seconds left, taking out Brooke Lopez and putting Pat Connaughton on the floor. And then Pat Connaughton is the one that gets bullied by Jimmy Butler at the rim. You just look at, a number of those things. You look at their crunch time offense falling apart. 3 of 19 in the fourth quarter of Game 5 from the field, 1 of 9 for Giannis Antetokounmpo in the fourth quarter, 2 of 6, I think he was, in overtime. Just overall, the team not coming through. So I think it starts with Mike Budenholzer and how you try to decide to move forward. You try to figure out if he's the right person for the job. If it's, more on the players, I think that gets tougher because as an organization, you don't really have a ton of options. You have Chris Middleton that has a player option for over $40 million next season. Chris can opt in, he can opt out, he can get an extension, he can become a free agent and then sign a new contract. He can do a lot of different things. But if you're the Bucks and Chris Middleton walks away, you are so far over the cap, you don't have cap space. You don't have, this isn't a situation where, all right, well, that $40 million we were going to give to Chris Middleton, we're going to give to somebody else. Nope, can't do it. Not possible. That the salary cap will not allow it. The money that you have committed to Giannis and Drew and Bobby and Pat will not allow that. You do not have room underneath the cap to go sign someone else. So if he walks, that's it. There's nothing that you're getting. And you can see how destructive that is. If you look at the Dallas Mavericks from this past year, Jalen Brunson walks away, they don't get anything for it. And now you're just sit there wondering, how you recoup that type of value. And it's really hard to do. You have Brooke Lopez. It's similar situation. Is he going to walk? Is he going to stay? If you then keep Chris Middleton and you keep Brooke Lopez, the luxury tax payment that you have to pay is even bigger than it was in previous seasons. And this is the first year that you're in the repeater tax, which is even more prohibitive, makes you pay even more money on the dollar for every dollar that you spend. So you have to go through all these decisions, and it's an off season where, from a roster perspective, from a personnel perspective, it's pretty inflexible. There's not a ton of moves to be made there. And yes, you can make trades and you can move guys around that way. But overall, if you're talking about the biggest moves, the most impactful players, there's not just a way to go out there and sign a new one. Other teams might have that option. You don't. So you got to either find a way to keep your guy. You got to find a way to, sign and trade one of your guys. You got to find a way to trade someone for something else that could be impactful, whether that's a pick or another player. Like, it's just a really difficult offseason, and it was going to be difficult no matter what. But I think it's a little bit less difficult if you have a second Larry O'Brien trophy. You're holding on to that thing and you say, all right, everybody wants some money. Great. Let's run it back. Like, this is easy, right? Like, we just won 2 or 3 championships and we're just going to keep doing this. We'll pay that bill. But when you get knocked out in the first round, you only win 1 playoff game. And yes, there were extenuating circumstances. Yes, Giannis only played in 2 of those games. I get all of that. But it's a lot more difficult to figure out if you want to pay all that money to bring all those people back.
Yeah, you're spot on, dude. That's Eric Name of The Athletic here with us on Rutledge and Hamilton. Eric, you mentioned Drew Holiday a little bit. I was surprised by his comments regarding retirement. He's contemplating it after his contract runs out in 2 years. What do you make of those comments? Because what's the old saying, right? When you're talking about retirement, you're already 1 foot out the door toward it, or something like. I don't know. I probably didn't do justice to the saying. But what was your reaction?
Did Aaron tell you that, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. What's your reaction to those comments?
So it was said a while ago. I know it got rehashed in the last week or whatever, but that was on the Point Forward podcast. I think something like 7 months ago, somewhere around there. 6
Oh,
or
it's
7.
that old. I just saw it, so I didn't know that.
Correct. So it did just like come back around, which is like totally fine. But it was said a while ago on the Point Forward podcast. And I think with Drew Holiday, he is someone who has always put his family first. He is someone that has always valued that higher than, I'm not gonna say other players, but like he's put his money, he's literally put his money where his mouth is. Like, when he had the chance to be with his wife and not play, he did so, and he gave up the money that he should have doing that. And when he wanted to be with his family during the pandemic instead of going down into the bubble, his wife had to convince him to do so, and the only way he did it was if they then donated his salary money to charity. Like, this is the type of person that he is. So would I be shocked if, he just wants to go spend time with his wife, Lauren, and their 2 kids? No, I wouldn't be shocked by that. Would I be shocked if, as he's contemplating that, he thinks, man, I just had close to an all-NBA season and maybe I'll get an extension. Maybe I'll sign on for a few more. No, that wouldn't shock me either. So, those are words that Drew Holiday said. And I think it's just going to be something that the Bucks have to be aware of and something that they have to think about. But that is still 2 years from now. He does still have 2 years left on that deal. So it's not necessarily something that they have to worry about this summer, but if you are doing future planning, it is something that you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What series is piquing your interest right now, Eric? Obviously, with the Bucks out, what's piquing?
I had more Bucks questions. You want to kick over the NBA or
go ahead? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just ask another Bucks. Well, there's so many more Bucks things out there. So with this, I'm interested.
I'm
with
just
this
depressed,
roster.
dude. This Rodgers stuff, the Bucks first round exit. Like, I'm just depressed.
I get
don't
that.
know.
But I think a lot of NBA folks are like this, Eric, and obviously you're not like a fan of the team, but you're around this team, so it's just obviously probably a bummer vibe. But like the off-season stuff is fat. It's like part of the NBA. It is really as interesting as the season can be at times. And the thing I'm trying to wrap my brain around with the Bucks is like Brook Lopez. He's really good, but he's in his 30s, mid-30s, I think. Drew Holiday, really good, 32. Middleton hitting 30. Injuries, I don't know what happens there. And then you have like Ingles. There's just so many good basketball players, but do they all? My question is, and I'm sure this is what Horst is looking at it, and if Budenholzer is involved in these decisions, how do they all fit together the right way? So I want to ask you, like percentage-wise, like, do you think what percentage chance do you give that like 70% of this roster is returning next year? So I've given you 2 percentages there. I don't want you to try to make predictions on players because I think that could put you in a weird spot. It's just more of like,
Eric, you got to give this guy a lesson in how to ask questions. What the hell was that?
I'm asking him. I'm trying to give him cover. How much of this roster do you think will be returning next year?
Yeah, I mean, with probability, I think you multiply the 2 percentages by. But no. So I think the big thing is the Bucks have 6 guys under contract right now. Then they have, a player option for Chris Middleton. They have a player option for Javon Carter. And then Brook Lopez, who's an unrestricted free agent, is still extension eligible. Excuse me. He could sign that before June 30th. So if you're 70% of the roster, that would be 9 of 15, maybe.
That's 60, I think. 60. That's not my forte.
Even that means you're going to sign 2 more of the guys that were already here. I would guess it changes. I would say it's low that you bring back that much of the roster. And maybe if they had 1 more, if they had gone deeper, I would give it a higher percentage. But I just think whether or not you keep the very top of that roster the same is a question. And I think that hasn't been a question in previous off seasons. Like last year, we weren't thinking about that, right? It was Chris Middleton, if he was healthy, they would have beat the Celtics. They would have gone to the finals. They would have won another championship, gone back to back, and you would have had all of that happen. But this year, they got knocked out in the first round, and you have to worry about Chris Middleton and what he looked like. On defense, he was not great in that series against the Heat. But on the other end, he put up 24, 6 and 6 per game. 3 of those games without Giannis on 46% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line, and 87% from the free throw line. That's a pretty good stat line. That'll play in the postseason, especially when Giannis is not out there on the floor. So you have to make a tough decision. Okay, if he can rehab his knee, if he can get a surgery on his whatever it is, whatever he needs to do this offseason, if he can do those things, does the defense come back? And then you have to think about that. So Brook Lopez, 35 years old. Next year is year 16 in the NBA. You have to decide how many years of that are we willing to sign up for, and how much is it worth every single season? And I think you're going to find out that it's worth quite a bit, and you do want to sign up for that. But that also means you probably have to accept the fact that those last couple of years may not be as great, especially not this year, where he's probably going to be. I don't know if he's going to be first team all defense, but second team all defense, and really put together a season that top 5 center in the league, I don't think is crazy to say for what he did this season. So I think there's going to be changes. Like there just has to be, because whether or not this wants to be talked about as a failure, coming up short, losing, whatever words you want to use, I listened to everyone on that roster talk about the goal this season is a championship. We don't care about the individual goals. We don't care about this. We don't care about that. We just want to win a championship. And as Giannis said, that's the worst postseason ever. That's the worst postseason he's ever been a part of, because they only won 1 game. On the little marker board, it said 15 on the top, 15 wins away from winning a championship. That's the worst postseason he's ever been a part of in his 10-year NBA career. And I don't think you can just run it back and say, we were unlucky. We got a bad matchup. Giannis got hurt. Whatever it might be. You can't, to me, you can't say that, because this is like the reality of having a team that has a championship expectation. And it was funny, as people have asked have asked other figures in sports about Giannis's conception of failure and what it means. Steve Kerr, said like, well, does that mean 29 teams are a failure? And my retort would have been, no, it doesn't. But for the teams that said the championship was a goal, the season was a failure because the goal was, you stated it. It was a championship, and that's a hard goal, and winning is really difficult, but they came short of that. And I just think when you look at everything that they have, it's going to be really hard to say that, you can just run this thing back and hope for the best next season.
And Eric, we're talking with Eric Name from The Athletic. I'll tie in where Strofe was talking about the rest of the NBA. I would imagine, and I saw some of your tweets, most of the NBA eyes are on this Warriors-Lakers series.
For sure.
And I just want to, like, the Warriors, to me, I'm such a big fan of. One, just the way they play, and I love Steve Kerr, but it's remarkable in today's NBA. They are doing what I think all Bucks fans wish Milwaukee could do, and they have a core of three. It was Clay, Steph, and Draymond, and then you have Kerr, and everything else, and Looney's, I mean, hanging in right near there, but those three have been kind of the core of that team, and everything else, players have been subbed out, Iguodala, Harrison Barnes, it's just really good players, but it's always been those three, and it speaks to, one, the ownership commitment to spend all the money, but also the GM's ability to fill all around it and Kerr's ability to coach it. But when I watch the Warriors play, one, I think, God, the Warrior fans are so lucky, and I wish the Bucks could have that, and I don't see that happening anymore with the core three of Drew, Chris, and Giannis. One of them might have to be moved around, but also, like, how much of it do you just are in awe of that this can happen in today's NBA, that three guys can stay and continue to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing this summer is the new CBA has come in, and the new CBA is kind of built around the idea of, like, we want to make it harder for teams to keep it all together over the years. Like, sure, pay your normal guys, your three guys that matter, but everything else is going to have to change out. And I think we've watched the Warriors kind of talk about how they want to have two pathways, right? Like, they want to get the young guys that can play with the old guys eventually and blend those two together. That one road, it didn't work. There's nothing on that road that matters. Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, Moses Moody, like, all those dudes, just like, that didn't work. When I watch the Warriors, there's three dudes on the floor that matter. It's Steph Curry, it's Klay Thompson, and it's Draymond Green. And that's how it was back then, and that's how it is now. And if you're the Bucks fans, I guess the hope could be, all right, let's move some stuff around, but keep Chris and Giannis and Drew together. But we'll see how this offseason unfolds.
You're the man, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Absolutely. See you guys.
That's Eric Name from The Athletic. You listen back, Wisconsin on Demand, Apple, Spotify, any of those great places. And that is brought to you by our good friends at Revive Restoration. RevivePros.com is the website. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. The mountains are blue, and we can prove it. Follow the show on Twitter at Jim and Matt. Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts. With the NFL draft in the rearview mirror, two former Badgers who didn't get drafted are getting their first opportunities in the NFL. Offensive lineman Tyler Beach has signed with the Houston Texans as an undrafted free agent, and safety John Torchio has two scheduled tryouts, the first of which with former teammate Joe Tippmann's new team, the New York Jets. If the Jets do not sign Torchio after his tryout, he will have a second tryout with the Tennessee Titans. Continued coverage on Badgers and draft over at ESPNWisconsin.com.
Badger Minutes on ESPN Wisconsin are brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule an appointment online today at PellaWI.com.
Olson Toon has been customizing both residential and commercial outdoor living spaces since 1997. Matt Hamilton here from ESPN Madison. For over 50 years of combined experience in their management and design teams, Olson Toon has become one of Wisconsin's premier building and landscaping outdoor living firms. Landscaping and maintenance, irrigation, concrete work, pools, and more. If you have an outdoor living need, Olson Toon is here to help. Go to olsontoon.com to get started on your home project today. That's olsontoon.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of the 2023 Chevy Silverado's turbo high output engine, delivering impressive power with no compromised durability. Whether you're helping friends move or just moving some friends, this is the sound of a family with plenty of rear seat room to enjoy the ride. And this is the sound of you heading to your local Chevy dealer today. Find your Silverado and find new roads. Chevrolet. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
Mark Tosher here to tell you all about PrizePicks' $1 million daily Superflex promotion. Every day of the NBA playoffs and finals, one PrizePicks user will win a chance at becoming a millionaire. Here's how you can win big. One entry placed after 8 a.m. Eastern will be randomly selected each day, and whoever placed that entry will be given a 6-pick flex. 4 correct picks is $16,000. 5 correct is $80,000. And if you get all 6 picks correct, you could win $1 million. Full details are at prizepicks.com/million. You must opt in at this link to be eligible for the $1 million entry. And once you opt in, all you have to do is play the game like normal, and you could be the lucky winner. If you're new to PrizePicks, let me give you a quick rundown. Pick multiple players and decide if they will score more or less than their PrizePicks projection. You can win up to 25 times your money on any entry, and there is no competition against anyone. Just you against the projections by visiting prizepicks.com, or you can download the mobile app.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by X Golf in Madison and Middleton.
It is gorgeous outside. Maybe I'll try to get to a state park this weekend. And if I do, I got to stop in and get a sticker because I'm going camping not that long at the end of May here. Going to take the camper out to the state park. Got to pull that with my
We're going camping this weekend?
Big blue truck from Simon Chevy in Mount Horeb. Only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simon Chevy in Mount Horeb. You can go talk to Dan Andrews out there and see if he can help you out if you need a truck and you can pull something and go camping on your own. But I am going camping for Memorial Day weekend down in Lake Geneva.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so that'll be a fun one. And
could run into first-round pick Lucas Van Ness down there.
Oh, there you go. I don't think we're in the same area. I'm going to camp in the state campground there. I would imagine he's probably got one of the houses I'll see from the state campground.
Yeah, that's where he was when he got drafted, at least. I don't know if they're renting it or what, but yeah.
You know, good for him. But if you're in the market for a new or new to you Chevy Silverado, Colorado, or SUV, I recommend Simon Chevy in Mount Horeb.
Nice, dude.
Yes.
I Dan the man at Simon Chevy. I still think you and I need to do a camping trip with Matt.
I'm down. We have some window here because we usually go every other week. My wife's not going to go when it's colder, and so maybe we can try to do it later in the year.
All right.
We got you guys can bunk bed, and I'll take the master.
No doubt.
All right, we're down. All right, Rutledge and Hamilton presented by Coors Light.